Om Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Ganasadusham Tatvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunaraitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Thank you, Swamiji, for helping us today, helping me today. So today's topic is, this is Hindus talking about Hindumisia. Misia means spelled as Misia, Misia, like, but is already pronounced as Misia. Means, and you know the why there is so much hatred towards Hindus, right? Hinduism, right? That's the thing. So under this ban, under this show, today's talk is why Kailasa? Why do Hindus need a Hindu nation, even though it's perceived that Hindus have a majority majority Hindu country, India, and then the Indian constitution is Hindu friendly, and the Indian laws are Hindu friendly, leaders are Hindu friendly, and pretty much the whole, not only India, then there's a substantial presence in Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Malaysia, Singapore, Bali, Indonesia, then all over the Nepal, Tibet, and all this, right? So there's even among all the Western countries also you can freely practice Hinduism. So when that is the background, when that is the situation, why do Hindus need a Hindu independent sovereign nation? If so, why? So that's the Sendilaya. We have to. Sendilaya is going to talk why Kailasa is. He's going to give his reasons for, and then Gaur Bhatta is going to ask questions, to understand why. Okay, so it's a start. Okay, Sendilaya, go ahead. You just tell your name, where you, where you are from. Okay, and where do you live in general, and then you can just say your profession, software or whatever. You don't need to tell the full details, but just generally so that the audience or the viewers know a little bit about you. Okay, so you can start with that. And Gaur Bhatta, I also, when you respond, you can also give a little background, and after that you can start. So Sendilaya, so what's the thing? My name is Bhagavan Reddy. I have been living in Dallas, Texas for the last 24 years. I used to be an IT guy, software engineer, and now I'm a businessman for the last 7 years. Okay, so I transitioned from an employment to a business employee to an entrepreneur. So right now I completely transitioned to an entrepreneur. So basically, that's a little background about me. And I've been understood Hinduism one way, then I left Hinduism, again I came back to, now I'm a practicing Hindu. Okay, not only am I talking Hindu, but I'm also a living Hindu. Okay, so that's a little background about me. So Sendilaya, so what the format is that, what probably you may have heard of that Mantra Mishra and Adi Shankaracharya, Vada Prativada, right? That's our format, right? And then in Hinduism we have these three logics, right? And one is a Tarka, a simple logic, and Kutarka, illogic, and then the Vitarka, beyond a human logic, is a divine logic, right? So that's the thing. But in Western philosophy, you only have one. One is a logic and illogic, right? So we are going to use Hinduism. And then we don't mindlessly go talk. If you believe that other person has a point, you agree. If you believe in your heart and mind that your heart and mind says that, yes, he's got a point, you agree. And both sides also the same thing. And he's going on for a long time. This is a format which you going on in Hinduism for a long time. Started in, from beginning of time. And I have learned this one from Sri Raju Malhotra. He's a very modern Hindu scholar, Indologist. He's been debating like this with all the Western. So far, the Europeans and now the West is been looking at Hindus from the Western lens, the Western gaze, Hindu, and the Western drishti. Now we are going to look ourselves. We are going to look at ourselves from Hindu drishti, from Hindu point of view. From that's a reversing the gauge, right? We are going to look at ourselves from the Hindu drishti. Make sense? So that's the thing. So that's basically we're looking at ourselves from our own lens. Make sense? So that's the little background how this is being done. Okay, so Sendilaya, you can. So what's your full name and where do you live and what do you do?
Sure. I have one question here. So let me just introduce myself and then I'll ask the question. My name is Sadhil Kumaran, and I was born in Madurai, born and brought up in Madurai, studied in Madurai, completed my graduation in Madurai. So all from the land of Meenakshi. So then I came over to US, been in the US ever since. I worked in Chennai for some time, Bangalore for some time, but after that I've been in IT all throughout. All along I had my own phases of the rebellious atheist phase, the communist phase, and I gave up everything. And once I realized um, all the valuables amidst which we were born in, being born as a Hindu, we do not even realize all the great things that we were handed down to us from our ancestors. Once I realized that, then I became a staunch Hindu, and after many years, by Swamiji's grace, I fell, at his feet, and after that, ever since, no turning back after that. Only being a staunch Hindu, and I'm raising my children also to be staunch Hindus. So that's my background. I just have one question before we start this discussion. How much is it time bound? How much minutes or something that each person gets to express their view and then get the counter?
Oh, it's an unlimited format. You can take as long as you want. There's no limit. The only limit is your availability or somebody's availability. Let's say if I have to go or you have to go or then we'll do. In case if one of us have to go, we'll do as an episode 2, episode 3 until you have been completely exhausted your thing. Because remember, in Hindus, there is no time limit. They have been going on from time immemorial, right? That's the wrong way of doing things, right? Because we are in a 24-hour news channel. They don't have time, right? Isn't that funny? Our news channel, they say they run out of time. So right now, it's a no time limit format. You can do as however long you want. Our only limit is our availability. Make sense?
Sure.
And then you can.
Mandana Mishra, they did for 55 days.
Yeah, it went for many days. Yes.
So we can take 55 days if you want. That's the time limit.
I hope I have that much material and knowledge to go for it. Yeah. So
that is the limit. 55 days. Will not exceed 55 days.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a precedence. Basically, that's a precedence, but we can do however long we want. Okay, continue.
Okay. So why Kailasa, right? So a couple of years back, when I was researching about countries which had official religions, that there was something I was looking into for an online debate with somebody I was having an online debate, and I found out that Islam, which is the largest religion, of course, based on adherence on this planet, has about 50 plus countries where Islam is the official religion. And next comes
56 countries, to help you out,
okay, 56 countries, and then Christianity, which is the second largest denomination, has about 37 or 36 countries. Christianity was there, and Hinduism, which at least on paper has more than 1 billion adherents, does not even have one country where it is recognized as an official state religion. And then came the question of why do we even need a state religion? Then I had to dig deeper into that. All said and done, an adherent of any particular religion can go and reside in any other part of the world, and has if the country permits it, has the ability to spread the religion, if he has the zeal, they can spread the religion, profess the religion, and follow the religion, and adhere to the religion as however they want, all the while getting the spiritual support and guidance through an umbilical cord to those countries where they have the official state recognition, right? For example, the Christian may live in India, the Christian may live in Africa, but through their local diocese, through their local bishops, they are all connected back to the states from where they get the umbilical cord, the spiritual flow which happens either from Germany or from Italy, and of course if you're Catholic from the Vatican and so on. So the critical support needed for an individual as an adherent of a religion, wherever he might reside in this world, comes from those countries which have their religion as the state religion. This was very clear because that's where the fund flows from. That's where the knowledge flows from. Because if in my local area, if I'm a Christian and if in my local area I have a theological seminary and I'm trying to publish a paper, I can refer back to all the things that were published by the main, the countries where my religion is the state religion. I can refer back to that. I can ask questions. I can get feedback from them, and I can profess my religion in this local country. This is completely not possible in the case of Hindus because we don't have an official state religion in any country. So that was a great that was something very shocking, so to speak. That's the right word, shocking for me. So then I realized, okay, if at all something has to be there, what is out there? Only then, we came upon Swamiji, and Swamiji said, Kailasa is that place. Kailasa is the first and foremost Hindu country that will give Hindus that kind of a support, that kind of a spiritual umbilical cord support wherever the Hindus may reside. So that was one of the key things for me as to why we need Kailasa. That's the first point for me. The second point is all religions have something, from their end at least, have something good to say about themselves, have something good to share to the world about themselves. A Christian might say that my religion is here to spread love, the belief of Jesus and whatnot. An adherent of Islam might say, I'm here to spread peace and whatnot. Likewise, from a positive outward contribution perspective, Hinduism also has something to offer to the world. Just like how all the other religions claim that they have something to offer to the world for the betterment of the world, Hinduism also has a lot to offer. So this has to be acknowledged, and this has to be taken forward. So then comes the question of what does Hinduism has to offer to the world? Now, Hinduism, unlike other religions, is, you might have heard this term, is an adhyatmic, science-based religion. We work on ourselves. There is no mass conversion. There is no mass hypnosis. It's not possible. So you cannot spread knowledge to a group, hoping that the group will pick it up and move forward. It is always individual focused. So this kind of an individual focused, an individual tailored path towards enlightenment is offered only by Hinduism, and this is a very unique feature of Hinduism. And unlike other religions, Hinduism also gives the adherent a wide variety of options as to what deities to follow, what traditions to follow, what kind of cultural path to choose. Even within the religious traditions, there are sub-traditions that the adherent can choose from, various philosophical paths, all pointing to the same direction, but with all these varieties and all these options, that the adherent feels at ease. Something will click among these thousands of options that are out there, and nothing is like it's like one size fits all kind of an approach in Hinduism. Everybody can tailor their own path according to some basic guidelines, and that is also a very key contribution of Hinduism. And that is also another reason why Hinduism has to be taken forward, because Hinduism has these great things to offer to the world. So these two I'll say first. I'll let Gauri Bharataya, if he wants to summarize this and if he wants to ask any counter questions, and then I'll add more.
Yeah. So Gauri Bharataya said he suddenly had to take something came up. Okay. So I'll have to play both roles. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I have to play the non-sangha role as well as the also the the moderator role. So to summarize, you're saying that one is all the other religions, right? For example, the Christianity, they have the Islam, as they said, first they have 56, according to OIC, they have 56 official states, Islamic, state religion as an Islam. And, OIC means the Organization of Islamic Countries, right? According to the 56 Islamic countries, and that's what you're referring to. So they are the largest following, they have the largest adherents of that religion they have there. And then the second is the Christianity, they have more than 30, I think 38, 36 or 38, you said. And then so everybody has their own state religion, whereas Hindus, even though there are almost 1 billion people practicing Hindus, and they don't have any country with a state official religion, even though there are many countries with the substantial presence. So it's not there. So in case of Islam, if they have to have any interpretation or any any message has to come, there is an umbilical cord. They're all rolled up to one place, right? Then there they will get their official interpretation, understanding, support, either in all kinds of resources, either the money or religious things or protection. All those things are coming from there. It's the same thing as Christianity. For example, in Christianity, they have Vatican in Italy, and so they all the people adherents of Christianity within that denomination, right? If I have to use a Hindu word, it's a sampradaya, right? Within Christianity, right? So you have many sampradayas within Christianity, like Catholics and then Protestants, Lutherans, and like that. There are many. So they're like that. Each sampradaya have their own. They roll up to that, and they have their book, and then they have the money support, and also the spiritual support, the religious, theological support, and the money support, and everything else they have. Whereas Hindus don't have. So for that reason, when I was doing research on the online, so I found out that these are all the things happening. So when I heard from Swamiji, right, the Swamiji, the people call Swamiji, we all fondly, Swamiji's followers call him as Swamiji, and the public calls him as Swami Nithyananda, right? So when Swamiji has given that the vision that is an umbilical cord and which will give the support to all Hindus, right? And so that's an essence. So that's why we want to do. And like Christianity has got a religious message to the whole world, saying we are spreading love among the whole world. And in Islam, all the followers of Islam, adherents of Islam, they're all saying that, hey, we are promoting peace in the whole world, right? And like that, we also have, Hindus also have an Adhyatmic Chintan, they also have that, and they wanted to, we as Hindus, we want to do. Right now, we don't have any centralized. I think this is in the USA, we have the Amber Alert, right? Do you get Amber Alert in your place? Right? It's a national thing, right? Amber Alert.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, so that is the. Okay, so then when Swamiji is saying that we have Kailasa which is going to give. So, but these are all things. So, did I miss anything in your? So, in Hinduism, we have so many things to share with the world, and we can also do it. But we don't have any. Even though we used to have, we have 1 billion Hindu practitioners and adherents, and now we don't have any country, and even the third largest following. The country, I mean the religion, but we don't have any state religion where they can also do what the other religions are doing, what the Abrahamic religions, that means Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, right? And Jews have Israel as their country, and then what do you call that? To extend, to add your point, right? Then we also have communist. Even though it's not like a religion, but they have a life philosophy similar to that, right? And then they have like Russia and China. Then atheists, right? Communists follow atheism, and they have their version of what's the purpose of life, philosophy of life, and the lifestyle they also propose, right? So pretty much everybody seems to have their own official countries, but only Hindus seems to don't seem to have any country which is giving the the support and in all the forms. And that's what it is. And then, so Hinduism has so many things to offer, and so why we shouldn't have. So that was so far, that's what he said. Did I miss anything, or did I get it accurately?
Yes, you got it accurately. Yeah. Some minor things like we can elaborate on the subsequent sections, but like how it differs also matters. Probably the next area I can discuss how it differs from other religions, and which is why Kailasa is needed and why we need to take it forward.
Okay, super. That we'll talk after my response, right? So, so what you're saying, yes, but if that's the case, we have in Kumbh Mela, all these Mahamandaleshwars come, then we have like Kapila Mahamuni, right? 5,000 years ago or 10,000 ago, I don't know, whenever long ago, he started this Mahamandaleshwars, and then they have started on all the gurus and meet on every Kumbh Mela, and then they have a spiritual head, right? A spiritual head of Hinduism. They all the gurus and all of Pitadipatis, and they all select one person as the supreme Pandit of Hinduism, right? Then you have all these Mahamandaleshwars that we are not aware, but it's already there. And then also not only there's a central head in then which has been continuously propagating Hinduism, advising and supporting. That's number one. Second, in each local, for example, since you came from Madurai, this is a temple city. I love Madurai. I've been there and it's a great city. I mean, if you don't wear this like kumkum and vibhuti, you look like an outsider, right? Because entire city even today is like living like in Puranic era. That's amazing place. A great. I love Madurai. I definitely want to live there. It's a tremendous amount of a spiritual place. Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it. Then so we have all these spiritual heads. We have Shankaracharyas all over the country, like Adi Shankaracharya established. Kapila Mahamuni established the head of the entire Hinduism, right? And then in addition that Adi Shankaracharya came around 2000 years ago or whenever, right? And then he has established 5 mathas where it is the traditional Hinduism. Then Ramanujacharya came and they have the same thing. And then the Madhvacharya came and then he did it. And then Swami Vivekananda did it. And then and Aurobindo did it, and then Ramana Maharshi did it, and so many people also. There's continuous flow of this thing all the way starting from Mahadeva, right? Mahadeva in the Navatar Dakshinamurti has taught all these things, spiritual truths, and so the entire philosophy from all aspects, either Vyavaharika, that means the day-to-day life, physical life, and then Paramarthika, that means it's a spiritual life, right? So it's been taught to all the Saptarishis, and from there it's been continuously propagated, spread. So we have Puranas, we have Vedas, 4 Vedas, and then we have 108 Upanishads, whatever knowledge, right? And then we have Agamas, and we have the epics, Mahabharata, Mahabharata and Ramayana, and we have all these Puranas, 18 Puranas are there. So we have so much knowledge is there. All this knowledge has been continuously, it's been taught and propagated and been, is going on from the the beginning of time with Mahadeva to until today, right? And then like not only Swamiji and all the traditional maths are still there. In Tamil Nadu you have Kanchi and then Puri, like that we have all over these mathas are there. Like Madurai is there, and in Tamil Nadu there are so many, and then and south and north, east, west, we already have all these things. So when we have all these things, why do we take so much trouble? And establishing a country is a huge deal. So why can't an Hindu use the resource which has already been there? So why would I have to take all this trouble of establishing a huge country? Then country means resources. You have to have the full 9 yards, right? The defense and education, treasury, and then you have to buy a land, and somebody is willing to give up a complete sovereignty, right? See, and nobody wants to give even an inch, right? And we had a great Mahabharata war where the guy was not even, he want to give an an eye of a needle, right? Right. So right, and so that's when that is a situation. What is that is going to spend all your life and then still there are no hopes that which is going to do? So does it really make sense to have when it is already existing only there, instead of using that? Is it really worth going?
Okay, yeah. So, so you raised 3 key points, right? One is already there are many things that are happening, like highly popular things like Kumbh Mela or like all the festivals that happen that where all these Mahamandaleshwars unite. A lot of spiritual leaders are there already. Even prominent spiritual leaders are there. And still, why this need for something of an official status, or why this paranoia? That is one. The second is Already everybody is familiar with Ramayana, Mahabharata. So much is spread out everywhere. Already there is all the support that is needed is available from some level of at some level from all these gurus that who are currently available in India at least. So why do we need to spend all this effort in establishing a new country, go through all the trouble when already things are existing? So are those the key opposition points to the thing here? Okay.
Yes, yeah, I think that's exactly you essentially summarize what I was referring. Yeah, in essence that's what it is. So it started from the Mahadeva all the way up to today. It's already there, and we have Kumbhamela is there, and all the matas, traditional matas are there. There are traditional gurus and ashrams and pitas and pitadpatis are there, and then also we have the modern gurus like Swamiji. The public calls him Swami Nithyananda and Sadguru and Amma Karunamayi, Amrutanandamayi, and Ganapati Sachidananda Swami, and Kurtalam Guru, what's his name? Siddheshwarananda Mahabharat, right? And then there are also Amma Bhagavan. There are so many gurus are also there in addition to traditional matas. So when so much wealth of knowledge and the practice has been interpreted, and then also this the Hinduism has been propagated and has already been there. So instead of going and learning and enjoying and getting the benefit, why go travel and do so much of tyaga? A lot of life has been sacrificed, and then spend all your time and energy, and still there is no hope that it will be established and then be able to see in your lifetime. So if that is the background, why would somebody wants to spend their give up their life and then give a tyaga in terms of resources, time, energy, talent, and see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the thing is, yes, of course, from the time of Shiva coming down as Mahadeva and being the progenitor of all the Hindu sampradayas, from that day till now, there have been so many gurus who have come. There have been so many sampradayas which has been established, and we might also, most of us are aware that Sanatana Hindu Dharma at one point was existing all the way from Afghanistan to the west. It went even till Bali, or even to the east, to all the Pacific islands. Sanatana Hindu Dharma was well spread. The Indic sphere of influence was one of the largest. That is, even after during the colonial period, it was at least that widespread. And as Swamiji mentioned in one of his satsangs, even there were lakhs of sampradayas in the past in Bharatvarsha. But from that extensive geographical and geographical space that Hindu Dharma occupied, and that vast mind space that Hindu Dharma occupied in people, has shrunk so much now that even within Bharatvarsha, even within our Bharat Desha, if you see only in pockets, you see this intense Hindu activity happening. From being widespread from Afghanistan to the Pacific, what was spread geographically and what in mind space, every individual family knew what to do next. If a child is born, what to do next. When a girl gets married, what happens next? When a child reaches a certain age, what happens? Every single family had their own customs, their own duties, their own ideas of what needs to happen next according to their lineage. Everybody was well aware, at least even like few generations back. Now, if we see, because of the reduction in mind space, Hindu Dharma's presence in the mind space has reduced so much so that most of the families do not know what to do next. They do not even know how to observe some of the basic festivals, how to observe some of the basic rituals. They would not know. For everything, they might just throw some money at some priest services and they may get it, whether be it in US, the Western countries, or whether they are living in India. That seems to be the norm now. So namesake Hindus have become more rather than real practicing Hindus. And the even bigger point is that, of course, yes, all the way, I mean, which was something that was spread so extensively, even geographically also, has shrunk so much. So in any way, if you look at this, it is only a reduction, of activity on the part of Hindu Dharma. This is point number one. Point number two is, earlier, when Hindus faced all this opposition from colonialism, or like even from prior religious conflicts that were there, at least intellectual conflicts with Buddhism or with Jainism, or with then followed by whatever, we had the Islamic reign, the colonial British reign, the European reign. When all those things happened, the opponents did not manage to create an anti-Hindu ecosystem in the past. But now that is not the case. Earlier, if somebody wages a war against a Hindu nation, if they defeat the Hindu nation, they establish themselves, but the Hindu roots are still under the soil. So once the foreign ideology falls away, Hinduism always sprouted back. It was able to do that. But now that is not the case, because an anti-Hindu ecosystem has taken over, so that even the roots are being uprooted. Even the Hindu roots are being uprooted. So this is a much dangerous situation than what was there in the time of, let's say, Ramakrishna or Ramana Maharshi or Osho or all the great masters who have come before. In their era, such a poisonous anti-Hindu ecosystem was not in place at that time, but now it is there. So that is another key point. What's the difference? And when you're asking why Kailasa, when there's already so much out there, when already there are so many masters. And also the third point is, earlier, the anti-Hindu forces were not working in a complementary way in the past. That is, when Islamic rule was there in India, European powers were also there in the later part of the Islamic rule, but there was no active collaboration between them to defeat Hinduism at that point in time. They were all fighting among each other one-on-one. Some places, of course, there was collusion between the Mughals and the Europeans, but mostly it was all like one-on-one. I don't like Hinduism. I don't like the Mughal rule. Mughals will say, I don't like Hindus. I don't like the Portuguese. So, but there was never a case like what we are seeing today, where the opponents knowingly or unknowingly working together against Hinduism. It was not there. So these three, for example, media will target Hinduism about the same things that an anti-Hindu ideological person from a communist party may target Hinduism. The same thing may be targeted by somebody who is a capitalist, who is bringing money from an MNC, and who may target the same Hindu belief system. So the media, the capitalist, the communist party, all three people, consciously or unconsciously, will be putting pressure on the same pain points of the Hindus and working in a collusion, working synergistically against Hinduism. This was never the case in the past. So this greatly weakens Hinduism than what was possible for the anti-Hindu forces in the past. So these three are the key reasons why, even though so many things are happening in India, of course, they are only happening in pockets where high intense Hindu activity is happening, like Madurai or Puri or some parts of India, but not in all parts. So because of all these reasons, why we definitely need Kailasa.
So to summarize, basically what you're saying is, when other gurus were there, or during the colonial era, or the Mughals invasion of India, or the colonial area, where they were just talking in general, but there was enough Hindu force to the answer them, and then and still there was a coherent, united the answer to all the onslaught of from the invaders, right? So it's there. Then also other gurus were not facing this kind of problem now what currently we are facing, where the capitalists are attacking the media. For example, when you're saying the media is attacking Hinduism, then whether the communists are taking and the capitalists are taking and all others are taking the same line, as if they are working together, or is maybe a coincidence or a collision. It doesn't know, but it appears that they're all attacking one and the one group where we don't have, the Hindus are not united, are not doing that. So because of that, there is continuously Hinduism is being under attack, and we don't have a coherent answer to all these the people who are all attacking continuously and weakening Hinduism and Hindus, right? So basically, this is what is in a nutshell. And so, did I miss any points, or did I capture your thought trend?
One point what I maybe I did not stress enough was, it may appear that Hinduism is widespread, but actually we have shrunk so much, even geographically as well as in mind space, when it comes to actual practicing Hindus, actual living Hindus being there. Because earlier, as I said, every family used to know who is their Kula Devata, who is their Ishta Devata. They used to perform their yearly puja, what they need to do, everything they knew earlier. Even the illiterate relatives, I should not call them illiterate, the people who did not go for formal schooling, they knew everything. They knew exactly on what day, what tithi, what has to be done, everything they knew. In my generation, nobody knows. Even though we are so-called formally educated people, we do not know most of these practices. So actually, when we cannot even say that there is so much of Hindu activity is happening. Actually, the Hinduism has lost its mind space, lost its appeal, so to speak, with the next generation.
So okay. Can I summarize?
Sure.
Yeah. So basically, Hindus from all walks of life, right? No matter what your profession is, from a coolie to a farmer to doctor to any profession, right? They all knew who was their Kuladeva, Kuladevata, or who was their Istadevata, and then they did all the karma kanda, all the dashakarmas, and then their yearly festivals, or yearly all their the acharas, right? They were all following across the communities, across the lifestyles, and everybody was doing from small and big and all together same, from Praja to Raja, Raja to Praja, everybody, right? Across the society, the whole thing was, they had the pride, they were doing, they knew, and everything was fine, right? Whether formally educated in a Gurukul or not. So it's been continued from a oral tradition from beginning of time until today, right? And is going on from the beginning of today, until previous generations. It was there, right? All of them knew what was going on. Even though all the people, all are earlier Hindus, right, are elders, and then forefathers, grandparents, and others, they were all, even though not formally educated in a Gurukul, right, in a formal education, but still they all knew the tradition, they knew what was going on, they know all the acharas, they were following very sincerely as per the Shastra. But whereas now we seem to, and then also we seem to have that, it's completely, that's widespread. Hinduism is widespread, it appears, but in reality, as you say, saying that no, and even though we are all educated, but our education is much more widespread compared to our earlier, our parents, grandparents, and great grandparents. And if you see that, and the education was not as widespread as today, but they seem to know everything about Hinduism, our culture, our history, our Puranas, our Itihas, and everything they seem to know better than us. And so it's been completely diluted, what do you call that, degraded, and then there's no pride, no understanding, nothing. So we are educated, but there. So basically, in the olden days, we had a Gurukula system, but which was not as widespread as today. But even though we had, the smaller education system, but the entire society seemed to know and very well in touch with the Shastra and all the acharas and the rituals and everything. But today we have a widespread school and everything, but we don't seem to have. So there is somewhere something missing, right? And we are much more diluted. We don't know what our Kuladaiva is. Now, if you ask any a modern Hindu today, right, they know what is happening around the world, right? In a few seconds, what's happening around the world. but they don't know the Hindus. They don't know their history. They don't know what's happened since the beginning of time. They didn't even know what their parents, grandparents, and great grandparents know. So that's very, very, what do you call that? And very, like a very the poor situation, right? A very bad situation for Hindus, and they have such a huge, rich culture, rich tradition. Not only just the spirituality, but they contributed in all angles of, the life, whether Vyavaharika or spiritual, and also they have the science and non-spiritual. Also, there's a huge contribution. So they have everything. Grandparents, everybody had everything, but we don't have. So that there is something huge disconnect happened because of whatever the reason. For that reason, we need to have Kailasa nation where you can be again regain the old glory and then revive it, right? So that's what is your articulation. That's what you articulated, and that was the narrative. Did I understand correctly, or did I misunderstand? Did I understand correctly?
Yes.
Okay, I understood. So I understood you correctly. So that is what it is. So basically, this is a case. We probably don't need Kailas. All we need is an awareness. Whoever is the Hindus who are aware should just educate, bring the awareness, and then explain the why, what of Hinduism, and then things. Why would you need to, instead of spending the tremendous amount of energy, resources, and starting a new country? It seems to be an awareness problem where the parents have failed in their duty to educate the kids, and our society as Hindu leaders and Hindu society and our gurus have failed in their duty to do that. So just a simple awareness and education. Instead of focusing all that thing, why would you need to spend all the resources on an independent, sovereign Hindu nation when it can be just a simple matter of awareness and education campaign?
Education.
All the problems you noted can be easily solved with an education awareness. You don't need an Hindu nation, right? Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. So education, as you might have seen, that has taken a totally different direction since the independence era, right? So even during the independence era, I don't know if you had a chance to read Dharampal's works. I've read his works in detail. So what has happened to education, which seems to be like your what you said was education and awareness could solve this problem. Why need a separate Kailasa? But even for the education to be given to the people, the producers of education and all the channels of education have been completely taken over by the anti-Hindu ecosystem over the past many decades. Traditional gurukuls, which focused on dharma-centric education, which of course included education about subjects from all spheres of life, as you mentioned. There were I even collected all the subjects that were taught in traditional gurukuls, and I was so surprised, and it was unbelievable the kind of subjects our Indian ancestors.
You mean Hindu ancestors?
Our Hindu ancestors who had a chance to go through. It was unbelievable. So Ramayana was a subject. Ramayana was, like English, Tamil was not a subject. Ramayana was a subject. Bala Ramayana was a subject for younger kids. Like Vyakarana was a subject. Like grammar, Sanskrit grammar was a subject. Like all kinds of Sanskrit kathas, even Sanskrit fictional works were subjects. Poetry was a subject. Kavya was a subject. Like it was so surprising that many parts of India had an education system that helped in Hindu education, that helped in educating Hindus about their own the fundamentals of Hinduism, the intermediary levels of Hinduism, the advanced levels of Hinduism, the philosophy, all the Siddhanta, Vedanta, everything was taught to students of various grades in the past through these traditional gurukuls and patashalas. But for the same thing to happen now, we don't have the same kind of producers of knowledge, because all because of the anti-Brahminical movement that has completely taken away the status and the position of Brahmins, the producers of knowledge and the pioneers of knowledge, from their position in the society. And also all the channels of such education, namely the Patashalas and Gurukuls, which were the channels of education, even those have been completely wiped out now, replaced with a poor replication of what the European model of education. There is no chance that, in the absence of the producers and in the absence of the channels of knowledge, such knowledge about Hinduism cannot reach to masses anymore. So spreading awareness with the education is impossible, number one, with the current setup. Number two, even for non-traditional methods of spreading knowledge about Hinduism, we need think tanks, we need thought leaders. And in the current anti-Hindu ecosystem in India, at least, it is not possible to produce such thought leaders from the current ecosystem. And even if by chance some thought leader, an original thinker comes out and tries to become a thought leader for Hindus and pioneers, some knowledge production systems, and if he pioneers some pathway to spread this awareness of Hinduism among Hindus, the whole ecosystem gangs up against him or her. And then, with all the weapons at their disposal, as Swamiji always says, like lawfare or all kinds of accusations, personal attacks, and everything, that person is completely undervalued, and such a thought leader is taken out of the picture as soon as that thought leader contributes anything significant for Hinduism. So because of these two main reasons, it is not that easy to say that, just by spreading awareness, just by spreading education, why can't we do it? We definitely need Kailasa, because only Kailasa can produce such an ecosystem where the producers of knowledge can produce knowledge, and they will have the appropriate channels of spreading knowledge, and there will be thought leaders will be produced from that ecosystem, and such think tanks will be produced by the ecosystem. So Kailasa is needed to do all these things, because in the absence of Kailasa, there is nothing else who will fill that gap and who will produce all these things for us.
So basically, to summarize what all you said, see, is that we used to have gurukuls, Hindus. The Hindus used to have gurukuls, patashalas, and then the production of all the new knowledge which is been used for Vyavaharika as well as the Paramarthika. That means Vyavaharika means the worldly things where use your profession to make a living, and then Paramarthika means understanding who you are, what's the purpose of life, and things like that is being produced. Then it's not been there. And then if any thought leader comes, original thinker comes, and the ecosystem is now such that they have been dismantled, attacked, and sidetracked or neutralized, right? Right. So they have been using various techniques to lawfare, or the means file false cases, and then badmouth them, and then do the personal defamation, and destroy their their identity and everything else they have been doing. And because of that, we definitely need a Kailasa so that it can be protected, and then will revive back to the producers of Hinduism, like the way Gurukul Patashalas happened in the past. And for that reason, we definitely need an independent Hindu sovereign country. And now Swamiji has started, so let's go ahead and support. And I want your support for this, so that we all can, and then revive the Hinduism into its full glory, and then enjoy the benefits of that. And did I understand correctly? Did I miss anything?
That's it.
Yeah. So that's again, right? If that is the case, so last 70, see, let's say if it happened during during the foreign invasion of Mughals, or of the Bharatavarsha or Bharatakanda, right, of the India. Now we call it India because British gave us the name India. Now we have got a nickname called India. Right? Bharat has been there since beginning of time. It's called Bharata, Bharatakanda, or Bharatavarsha, Jambudvipa, right? These are all our names, right? So that's how traditionally, that's how we've been, referred to. But then the English guys came, right? The Mughal invaders called us, the Sindhus, right? And then that's what the many people believe. And then we have now the British came and they ruled us and gave us a name instead of Bharat. Bharat, they just changed the name to India. So all these people happened last 1,000 years. I agree with you, right? Is there happened? But now last 70 years, we Hindus are ruling, right? And then we can change all this. Then see those during the British rule. Okay, I agree that they have replaced our Gurukul system, they replaced our Pathshalas, and then but now last 70 years, we Hindus are doing. That means Hindus, as we realize, or at least the Hindus feel that probably these are all too old. We don't need anything, just replace ours. Ours is too old, not used anymore. So replace with the most modern Western, mindset, Western philosophy or Western thought, and let's replace our traditional things we voluntarily seem to have. So during the British and all others we had, and they would have replaced. But after that, we could have reversed, right? The things how we have done all others, we could have done. So the fact that we are not doing, probably the Hinduism lost its relevance, right? Some people were saying, hey, in the olden days, we used to have bullock cart. We used to do in the plows and all that. But now we have tractors, and now we have jets, we have Vimana, means the aeroplanes and buses, then like cars, trains. There's so much, our lifestyle has completely changed. Maybe the Hinduism is not relevant. So that's why, all our forefathers, like the people who framed our constitution, he made it for Hindus, but then Hindus, they think that, hey, our religion is not, our Hindu religion is not relevant anymore, then probably we should just jank it and then, replace with the modern, like now we have now cell phones, we have the cars, we have vehicles, and which are replaced with our traditional system, like the bullocks and bullock carts, and then the horses, and then the elephants, and we used to live like that, right? So from there, and now they have modernized. All the Western civilization has now reformed and changed the whole lifestyle, right? So now we are completely there, and so like Hinduism, right, probably is not able to, satisfy the needs and the desires, and of the modern Hindus. So that's why Hindus, probably they don't care, they don't want to do, they just dump their own religion because it's not relevant anymore. And it was relevant to their parents, grandparents, and all the forefathers from the beginning of time. But now it doesn't seem to, satisfy their, their lifestyle, their pursuit of their life, or their desires, and their needs completely changed. And it seems to me that in the Western, the average Hindu thinks that it seems to them, and they're saying that, right, that probably we don't need that anymore, and so that's why we just replace it, right? So that's why this is, since that's why, even though gurus have been working, and then, right, we have all these matas and all these, they are in 24/7 incessantly working, but the Hindus don't seem to see a value in it. So when we are fighting a losing battle, right? So why, like as if the communists are fighting a losing battle, but they still hold the fort strong in Russia and China, and then the atheists, looks like the Hindus are fighting, and the Hindus, an average Hindu thinks that the Hindus are fighting, traditional Hindus and practicing Hindus are fighting a losing battle. I don't know, we're part of it. That's okay. It doesn't make any more relevance now, and the modern, now the language, English language, the Western thinking, Western inventions, Western lifestyle, Western civilization seems to be much more superior to Hindu thinking, Hindu philosophy, Hindu lifestyle. It seems to be rooted in, the old ways of living, which seems to have lost its relevance in today's modern competitive world. That's what an Hindu thinks. So what do you got to say about that?
Sure. So, yes, definitely, there is no argument against modernization here. Definitely, as you might have heard the difference between modernization and westernization, right? A cell phone is good. Cell phone is good, but using a cell phone to always be hooked up on social media is kind of is bad. The tools are good, definitely. The tools, whatever the West has produced, there is no denying in the utilitarian value of such tools, and even Hindus should also adopt that. And we Hindus have been pioneers in accepting and adopting to technological changes or cultural changes or anything that's of a positive influence coming from outside. We Hindus were never scared of adopting such things. So even now, Hindus, you may see that Hindus are never scared of going and settling in all kinds of countries and still continuing to, to thrive. As Swamiji has mentioned in many of his satsangs, you may see that Hindus are very successful in places where there is religious freedom. even if they may be religious minority, but they are very successful in the countries where they live. And some of the key indicators that we always hear from Swamiji satsangs, right? Like how high educational percentage, the income is so high than the national averages in many of the countries. The low crime rates, the low drug abuse, the longevity of the families. So Hindus must be doing something. Hindus must be having something in their genes and something in the way their religion has shaped them, so as to make them successful in all the places where they go. So that definitely is something that needs to be carried forward, even though they may get modernized. It's not an argument to say that okay, Hinduism has become irrelevant. That's why it's not being spread anymore. So why don't we just throw it out? Cannot be a reason, because Hindus seem to be still successful wherever they go outside. Within India, the reason why Hindus are losing the mind space is an altogether different question. For that question, of course, we have many reasons. Hindus, we think that Hindus are a majority in India. You said that after 70 years of independence.
Can you completely summarize? And once I agree, yes, you understood my point of view, and then you can respond.
Okay. Yeah. So the first thing what you mentioned was all these things before independence made sense, but after independence, you Hindus are ruling. Why can't why not why still complain? When maybe a reason is that Hinduism has become irrelevant. That's why when the ancestors followed it, it had relevance for them, it had meaning for them, it had utilitarian value for them. But now, maybe because of modernization and because of all westernization, maybe Hinduism is no more relevant. Maybe it does not have any appeal. So just like how the communists are still holding on to communism, even though it is a defeated philosophy, it's a failed philosophy. Hindus may be holding on to something that has already failed. Why are they still holding on to it? Is that the right question I have?
Yeah. That's one. Yes, that's one. And then it doesn't seem to have produced the modern tools and things like the Western civilization, and now we are doing. In addition, I forgot to mention one more thing. Yeah, you just got it, and let me add one more thing. Right. So Hinduism, let's say if you see, yoga has been spread all over the world without any the current situation, current scenario, right? And then also dhyana, meditation went all over the world without any single country, without a state religion, right? And then also Ayurveda, the alternative holistic way of doing things, right? So then this is already there, it's happening, as you said, and actually you are putting your own evidence against yourself, saying that Hindus, wherever they went, is already there. That means they've already got it in their DNA and everything else. So that means they don't need to do anything, right? They're already there, and then they enjoying the freedom, and then already achieved everything. So Hinduism, like now, if you see, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, she learned yoga. She came to India and then learned yoga. Now she became a yoga acharya, went back to Saudi Arabia and started teaching yoga in a completely. Saudi Arabia is an Islamic state, and completely implemented the Quran and then the Hadith and Sirah, and then the Sharia law. Completely, they are using the Sharia law. That is a country where there itself, and yoga is being taught by the Prince of Saudi itself. That's one. Second, if you go to Indonesia, the daughter of the president of Indonesia, she's embraced Hinduism, right? As it is, right? So if the people wanted to see the relevance, yes, they would do it. So why would you spend, instead of sparing time and effort and all these things, if there is a value, people would, if there is a utility value, as he said, they would automatically do it. Why would you want to do it? And why you want to go just because the Abrahamic religions are pursuing continuously and doing, and then and promoting aggressively like a product, right? And why do you have to do Microsoft is pushing their product and Apple is pushing their product? Why would we have to get into a competition which we have never done? If your product is so superior, like Facebook, WhatsApp, there is no competition, right? So if your product is so superior, if it is so great, you don't need a separate promotion, right? You don't need to aggressively promote. And so if it has been one of the oldest, if I have to repeat what you said, it's the oldest religion. It's been there forever. It's got a lot of utility value and it's still relevant. It's got all these things there. If that is true, then actually you are defending your own argument, because it's so powerful, then you don't need anything. It's already thriving and is continuing, right? So that is, these are all the things. So yeah, you just summarize this and then you can answer and respond to what I just said.
Sure, yeah. So the first part I summarized. Then what you mentioned was, just because other religions are promoting their product, and since we have never been in such a competition before, why do what others are doing? Number two is, if your product is that good, if it has been there for thousands of years, why even bother to advertise it? Because if it is that good, it will already be adopted by anybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, like Facebook or WhatsApp, there is no competition to them, right? Because that's the standard, the benchmarks of social media platforms, right? So the answer to that would be, that's got many factors. One is, in the sphere of science and technology, Hindus have produced so much in the past that there is so much of archaeological evidence, there is so much of literary evidence and everything. But all those sampradayas, the vijnana, the vijnana production, right? Like the production of knowledge related to science, mathematics, and on all the natural sciences. This took a major hit, and Hindus have not revived from that since the pre-colonial era. Since the pre-colonial era, we should admit that, at least I would admit that, Hindus have taken a major hit in that area, and we were never able to recover back from that. Even from shipbuilding, from metallurgy to iron and steel production, to zinc distillation, Hindus have produced so much knowledge in those areas. Even in mathematics, from calculus to so many other equations, differential equations, we have produced so much of knowledge. All that got abruptly ended during the pre-colonial era because of violent foreign interventions, and everything stopped. So yes, there is a great lack there for Hindus to catch up to where the West has reached in terms of science and technology. But that doesn't mean that the seeds that were able to produce such science and technology in India have been completely lost yet. So any country which does not have an indigenous platform to produce science and technology and knowledge can always be a consumer of such science and technology, and will never be a producer of science and technology to be a major player in the world, right? Like if all said and done, so many US and European countries were all producers of knowledge for a long time. China was there as a consumer of knowledge for such a long time. But then at some point, like 50 years back, China realized that I cannot just be a consumer of knowledge. I have to be a producer of knowledge, even though the Chinese way of thinking has become obsolete. But I'm not going to give up on that. I will go back to my roots. I will know what is the essential the Chineseness. But I will also adopt what the West has produced, and I will start producing knowledge like how I will produce. Japan has also done the same. If you will see the hundreds of PhD theses that come out of high quality theses that come out of Japanese universities, and then how science and technology has advanced in Japan. They have not completely given up their roots also. So it is possible for Hindus also to still remain indigenous in terms of knowledge production and still catch up, in terms of science and technology. This is one part. And the second part is, when you ask, if this is such a good product, people would have taken it. Maybe it is no more relevant for people. That is not true, because Hinduism by its nature makes an individual realize the divinity. It cannot be spread en masse. It cannot be given to the whole mass of people and say that this is the product, take it, because that works for Islam, that works for Christianity, consumerism, communism. all other kinds of isms that are out there, it works en masse. That is, you can spread to a mass of people, and the mass of people can adhere to all the principles of that religion, and they can receive the benefits of that religion by adhering to that religious principles. Whereas in Hinduism, the effect is seen in individuals. An individual transforming into a divine, an individual evolving into a higher state of consciousness is not possible to be produced in widely in a group. So that is also another reason why we cannot compare in that line, saying that okay, your product is not good, because it's a totally different product. There is no, for somebody to use this product, somebody needs to know the value of this product, and for that to happen, we need to spread awareness, and that the value proposition has to be spread definitely. That we Hindus have not done, and there is a need to do that. And you also mentioned that like if it is like Facebook or WhatsApp, by now it would have caught up, right? Hinduism needs to be reinterpreted, and it needs to be, as Swamiji said in one of the satsang, Hinduism light is spreading everywhere. So what he called as Hinduism light was dance, yoga, the kirtan, music. This spreads easily. Okay, this is like the surface level Hinduism. So maybe the Saudi princess can come and learn this. She can go and spread back. Somebody can come and learn Bharatanatyam. Somebody can come and learn Shastric music and go back and spread in their country. All that is Hinduism light. But the core of Hinduism is the ability of the Hinduism's principles to transform an individual into a divine being, in giving that possibility. That is the core of Hinduism. That is the core philosophy of Hinduism, the enlightenment, right? Enlightenment, Adhyatmic sciences are the core. For that to be given to the world, the core of Hinduism to be given to the world, Hinduism has to be reinterpreted, has to be given in a fresh way. So every guru has done this. Every guru gives commentary about the core philosophies of Hinduism in every era. Every guru has done, and our Swamiji is giving for the modern era, right? So there is definitely a need to take this forward. Only then we can say that yes, this product is better than all the other products. Only then people will see the value of this, and only then they will accept this product.
Okay. So basically you're saying that, that to get the enlightenment ecosystem, you need this, and then it cannot be mass, en masse. You cannot do like the way Christianity or Islamic Abrahamic religions, how they are doing that. It cannot be mass, en masse cannot be propagated. It has to be an individual level, and it's there, right? And then it's already there, and it's not, it is lost its relevance because it's not properly interpreted. So now it needs to be reinterpreted, so that the individual can get the things and then experience the highest potential a human being can get, right? And so you're saying that because of that, so because of that, it will be there. For that reason, we need to have the product, right? So for all of that, so you're saying it cannot be done. If that's the case, very simple, right? See, if only few people, if it is not relevant for the en masse, it's not relevant for the entire Hindu Samaj, right? 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 Okay, so I think Gauri Bhatta is back. You can just join, and then you can do that. So the en masse, right? So the en masse cannot be done. It has to be, an individual base. If that is much simple, right? You don't even need to go to this part. Like in olden days also, even though all the Hindu ecosystem was there, and all others are there, and so they all went to Naimisharanya, and all the people who wanted to pursue, they went to the separate place, and the Himalayas and Naimisharanya and all those places they pursued. Even today, they go to the Himalayas, not this forest, and then practice, right? Because if you say this is not relevant for the en masse, you yourself are actually giving enough evidence to say that is not required, right? If it is not relevant for the whole en masse, then that's how people who are interested, then let's go even from the beginning of time until today, right? All the people who wanted to go, they went to Naimisharanya, and then they learned all those things. They learned the Shastra, they got the practice, they did tapas, and then they achieve the highest form of thing. So they can still continue that. So if it is not relevant, then as you're saying, there's a Hinduism light, like for example, the arts, right? All the 64 arts Hinduism taught in teaching, according to Hinduism, there are 64 arts a human being, can use any of them: dance, music, singing, and sculpture, everything, right? Like if that's a case, you're saying that if you see the Kalidasa, and you use the poetry to achieve the ultimate thing, right? There are a lot of dancers, they have used the dance to achieve the Paramatma. They have become like that. Even if you, a lot of our earlier the gurus, not exactly gurus, like Mirabai reached, and then like that. There are so many people they have achieved. Like what's his name? Vedavyasa. Even though he was born in a Shudra, right? And he went to the Gurukul, and then learned in the forest again, and he achieved the highest form. And then also the Ramayana, and the author of Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, like Valmiki, right? He's also Shudra, right? And also he has achieved all that. So all this is happening. Is a specialized education like Harvard and like that in Indian, the rishis, and then all the sannyasis and all the swamis, they all have to go to a specialized place. And right now US still is there in going there, and go to Himalayas, go to Rishikesh or whatever, all these places, and go to Naimisharanya place like that. Even today they're there, they just have to go there. And since you yourself are saying is not relevant to the en masse, you can do this. These are all the right things, just to give them the introduction to puja, and then vrata, yajna, homa. These are all light, and they can do it, and it needs to be reinterpreted. So that means the people who are interested, they would go. The people are not interested, they think that. That's why they never pushed, right? When the Hindus were introduced to the Europeans, and then Europeans have did a comparative lifestyle. Hey, European lifestyle is this, and Hindu lifestyle is this. You see this, which one it is? And Hindus left Hinduism by voluntarily, because the Europeans showed the comparison, and then they showed their modern inventions, and Hindus felt. That's why when Hindus got the independence 70 years ago, they said, "Hey, man, Western civilization seems to be the there is the better way to go, and today we are irrelevant. Let's continue." So they're doing. That's why they just replaced all their gurukuls. They could have revived. They had the choice. Even today, they're all the Hindu majority, and you have BJP is there in power, VSP, VHP, RSS. There already there are a lot of Sangh Parivar. There's a huge amount of things. The gurus are there. The social activism is there. So much is there. Still, nobody sees the relevance. That means there is no utility value for Hinduism, traditional Hinduism, and in the old way, how it was, at one point, like Roman civilization, Greek civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, all these things came and gone. Same thing, Hinduism is maybe, and it's been there for a long time. So it was, there for a long time. I mean, huge. Then so now it's losing relevance, like the way how communism was there. And that's why they're leaving voluntarily. If they see a value, definitely if somebody used the iPhone, and this is a smartphone, and the earlier versions of phone, the dumb phone is gone, right? Nokia used to make this. Now you have a smartphone, Apple, Samsung, all these guys are doing. Now Tesla, like that. The newer version of the religion seems to satisfy all the needs, and then all the Western philosophy, Western civilization, all those seems to see a better value today than the traditional Hinduism. And that's why Hindus are voluntarily leaving. If it is really there, and it should survive, right? So I haven't seen you answering those questions, where if an average Hindu sees your narrative, grand narrative, or the articulation, they say, yeah, hey, he believes in it, but he doesn't. I don't seem to be convinced with his argument or narration, or the demonstration, saying that yes, Hinduism, I need to be so excited. Hey, you demonstrate iPhone? Yes, seems to be good, man. Let me go. And it is not giving that, right? Oh man, Hinduism. Yeah, I know, I understand. I'm a Hindu. I've been doing it. I'm doing to whatever is relevant to today, because my parents, grandparents, and all the people from beginning of time, they found it is valued for them. But now we don't need to do. Yeah, you just said it, right? It doesn't seem to convince an average Hindu. So that means it doesn't have any more relevance. And when it doesn't have a relevance, why you want to waste your time? And whatever is relevant, right, is already spreading, like yoga and dhyana and Ayurveda, all those things. Whatever is relevant is already spreading without any and one, one guru, one parampara, one sitting on the top of the world and then teaching all that. So it's already whatever is relevant is been there, and whatever is not relevant. So that seems to be that, so your own explanation, narrative, demonstration seems that you don't need Kailasa, and whatever you wanted to do is already been, taken care. So I think you also should join and spend your time, energy, and then, achieving enlightenment at the highest form. Yeah. Okay, it's back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, yes, one statement what I would like to probably elaborate was the statement where
yeah. First you wanted to summarize, and then you answered whatever.
So what you mentioned was Hinduism is not it's not easy to spread en masse like Christianity and Islam, as per my statement. And if it is only about an individual, only interested individuals will already have enough avenues to go and pursue their spiritual interest, and they can become enlightened. Individuals can already become enlightened. If people are interested in the 64 arts, and even 64 arts are also have helped in the past many people to achieve enlightenment, why not, and already people are interested in such Hinduism light, so to speak, like yoga, dance and music and everything. So anyway, people are learning it, and let them go and do it. Already they are doing it. So whoever is interested is going to do. The other point you mentioned was if
like Mirabai, Tyagaraja, they're all through singing, right? Bhakti, they've achieved, right? And so it's been that one of the arts, like you're saying light, but actually they use the light one to achieve that thing. And then there is a Telugu great sculpture, by thick Jakana, right? Sculptor Jakana, and he achieved the Paramatma, right? And then what's his other one? And Kalidasa. And through his writings, he have achieved Kalimata, and then Ramakrishna Paramasa achieved Kalimata, right? Ramana Maharshi, yes, that he also achieved the enlightenment. So there are so many examples using existing ones; they're already there. So then your case for this is not very strong, and so that I think current system seems to be fine. Continuing.
Yeah. So the response to that would be so.
You wanted to first summarize, then respond.
Yeah. So did I miss anything here? So you mentioned that
they said summarize one more just to make sure that. So what you said and then what I said, and then you wanted which part you wanted to agree, and then which part you wanted to respond or disagree.
So you mentioned about the 64 arts and how people have already achieved enlightenment through those parts. So even though I may call it as Hinduism light, people have actually used it to achieve the ultimate itself. So if that be the case, even spreading Hinduism light is okay. It's good enough, because already people are doing it also. What is more there, for somebody to get paranoid about Hinduism losing the mind space or anything? Hinduism is still happening. Still, so much is happening. There is no point in even saying that Hinduism is not there anymore. There is no point. People will not feel the enthusiasm for someone when they put these claims as the reasons why Hinduism should be propagated, because these are very insignificant excuses to claim that Hinduism has to be preserved and Hinduism has to be propagated. The claims are insignificant. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, exactly. There's a claim seems to be too small to give up somebody's tag of my life or my support to you, right? Right, my time, talent, and treasure. And you're suggesting that if I agree with you, then I need to do a tag of a substantial amount of my personal resources, either time, talent, or treasure, or all of them, or some of them, or at least to give a moral right and then do it. So if that's the case, and unless it's really worth my life, tag, doing a tag of my life, tag means not giving up life, right? They're giving up our resources, valuable life, instead of pursuing our life, achieve the ultimate. Now I'm just trying to spend things which are losing value. People don't seem to care, and because the people don't see any relevance. So when the people don't see any relevance, why even bother? and spend tag of my donation of time or money or resources, talent, or giving you even the moral support. Instead, I can just give the moral support to other things, right? They're like an environmental cause or animal cause or veganism or then the world peace and world economic power and solving the the greenhouse effect. There are so many causes I could do instead of this, which doesn't, that has a huge, right? The whole world is a survival of the entire humanity as risk. The world is at risk when then the huge problems are there. This is a small thing which is like you're talking of an individual, right? Few people which they already have an existing solutions.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah. So to that so the areas where I differ from from what you mentioned.
First you wanted to summarize. Yeah.
So yeah. So the first 2 points I summarized right here, or still shall I go ahead and do one more time?
Yeah, good. So, okay, the whatever I just said it, yeah, you just
yeah. Right now, the last point what you mentioned was if it is really relevant, if Hinduism is really relevant, people would pay time and interest and and spend their life energy and everything in it. But since it is not relevant, people are not the Hindu cause is not being taken up. Whereas if you see other causes like like global warming or preserving the environment and all these ideas, these seem to be much more significant for people to invest their time and energy in rather than something outdated like Hinduism, which anyway is not appealing to the people. It's not appealing en masse to the people, as opposed to some of these other ideas, the modern ideas that have come, which have more relevance for humanity. Unlike Hinduism ideas, which seem to be that already things are in place, it's losing its appeal. Why put more energy into something that's not going to fulfill me? That's not going to make a big impact for humanity as such. Whereas other ideas like global warming or environment friendly or those kind of ideas are more relevant for people to put their time and energy. Is that what was the last point here?
Yes, exactly. Yes. So the people see that there's a global pressing problems there, human being survival and then environmental survival, human survival, and the global. There are so many issues which affects everybody's life in day to day. Instead of focusing on all these huge problems, this seems to be a personal issue to you, and few people like you want to pursue that. And even that already existing solution for that. It appears, I mean, even though it's not there, bigger issues are there, and now trying to, smaller ones. Yeah. So when your pipe in a house, when there's a huge pipe, a plumbing is broken, you are worried of the tap. Instead of focusing on the plumbing, you're focusing on the tap, which, first focus there, and then the tap will be taken care. If I have to give an analogy, right?
Analogy.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So most, if not all, the new age ideas that have caught the people's imagination, the human imagination these days, right? Like lifestyle, the dietary changes to their life, like veganism, vegetarianism, or cruelty-free food, or chemical free food, fertilizer-free organic food, non-GMO food, or lifestyle changes like yoga, meditation, or the concept of ecofeminism, where people have started realizing the giving nature of nature, the feminine nature of nature, and how they have to preserve it, and how people need to have a much more deeper connection with nature, rather than thinking of nature as something that can be utilized. Gender issues, people's mental health issues, all these things right now, like where you are saying that people are putting their life and energy and time in doing research, in doing the theories and advancements and philosophies, all have already enough representation in the Hindu philosophical systems. Okay, all of these ideas are rooted in Hinduism, but Hinduism, in addition to these things, has also an undercurrent, a basic philosophy also in place, which is rooted in spirituality. So, delinking the spiritual aspect of all these things, let's say delinking the spiritual aspect of gender, and just tweeting gender issues and then coming up with all kinds of new jargons, new ways of thinking, new systems of thinking, how to handle gender issues in the world, is not going to solve the gender issues as what we may think, like how it should solve, it may not solve. Likewise, delinking the spiritual aspects of the protecting the environment or saving the environment, protecting Mother Nature, delinking it from the spiritual aspect of it, and then trying to just take it as a project, a human project, without that the spiritual side of it, is not going to make it as a success. So all these small bits and pieces of ideas that the West has plucked from from the Hindu tree, so to speak, and trying to make it into these global great ideas, and then trying to take it forward, will have some level of impact. Yes, definitely it is needed. But Hinduism is the whole package. Already it is there. So we cannot say that Hinduism has no relevance for the world. All these major issues, whatever I mentioned, right? All of them have already been taken care by Hinduism in the past. And then we even know, people who were living Hindus, we know that just a few generations back, there was everything was, we never used any plastic, right? Anything that was produced in the household was completely used, and there was no harmful waste that came out of the house. Even whatever food that was left was given over to the dogs in the street, or given over to cows that came to our street. We never wasted anything. The wastage concept was very minimal. You see the carbon footprint now, right? In a Hindu way of living, we never were that much worried about car being a status symbol, having a very expensive a motorcycle was not a status symbol. Rather, it was all treated in a utilitarian way and in a very nature friendly way. There were no gender issues like how it happens today in the Western world. All these gender issues were completely unheard of in the past. So Hinduism offers a lot of solutions. Hinduism has had all these solutions in its philosophies, and it was living at some point, at least, a harmonious lifestyle that did not bother nature. I mean, that did not violate nature. That had all mechanisms, had enough resources to solve the issues that come up within itself, and it was a very harmonious system. It was in place. We have lost the system, and the West is plucking a few ideas here and there and then making it into global movements, and then claiming that these have more significance, these are more relevant for you. Don't worry about religious aspects. Only focus on these. That is not the right way to move to these issues. Rather, we can take it holistically. The whole system is there for us to make use of. Why detach it from spirituality, and why use only these few things and claim that Hinduism has lost its appeal? If you take the holistic package, then maybe we will realize that Hinduism does really still have appeal, still has value for the future.
So basically, you're saying all these ideas exist in Hinduism. The gender equality, the non-GMO, right? The natural, the organic food, and then and also the gender issues, environmental issues, and all these things are already been addressed in Hinduism. And then why can't we just do it instead of pick and choose and all those things? That's exactly, actually, you yourself are supporting that you don't need a Hindu nation, separate independent Hindu nation. You know why? Because if you go back to this, you have bullock carts, and the things were driven by the horses, and the cows, and then the bullocks, and then the animals. That's what. But so that is not relevant. So just drop it. So what is relevant is used, and only that is what. That's what exactly saying. The entire Hinduism as it is not relevant anymore. You yourself demonstrated. That's what I'm saying. So that's why they picked things which are relevant to it, and it should do. So why you want to go and waste your time in reviving the bullock cart, and then the horses and the elephants and that kind of thing? And they say, like in Hinduism already talked about, they figured out on their own, and they're talking about. So why even go to the things, the burden of learning everything, reviving everything, which doesn't seem to have a relevance today? So you yourself have answered a question that we don't need a Hindu nation, an independent sovereign nation, because we have said, right? You are saying that, yeah, if that is the case, then he cannot, right? They picked up, the Westerners picked up these things because, and you can't use the bullock cart anymore. You can't use the old systems, lifestyle thing. So what is relevant is been there and used. So that's why, so you yourself are answering. You yourself brought a question, you yourself brought this thing and answered yourself, and then accepting based on your argument, and then the demonstration narrative saying that you don't need a Hindu nation. An independent sovereign Hindu nation is not needed. So, and as an average Hindu, like me, as an average Hindu, I'm not actually reinforced my idea that we don't need a Hindu nation. We already, whatever is there, in good place.
Okay, so what you're saying is, whatever is good and whatever is relevant has already been picked out of Hinduism. So whatever remains is actually not interesting or significant to carry forward. So that
there is no utility value. There is no utility value. That's why it's been dropped.
That's why it has been dropped. Yeah. So I beg to differ in that. What I'm saying is, whatever is being left behind, not everything is insignificant, because the spiritual aspects of the Hindu Dharma that they gave these ideas, right? Those spiritual aspects still have relevance, and that spiritual aspects still have values. All I'm saying. I'm not saying that we should go back to bullock cart. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we should go back to using doves for messages, right? We have to use mobile phones. I'm not saying all that. But what I'm saying is, modernization alongside using the spiritual sciences do not contradict each other, is all I'm saying. Maybe, see, in the past, I'll just give you a few examples. In the past, maybe, a Sthapati might have had a visual in his mind. He might have visualized how a temple is going to be, and he will be the single point of he will be the architect who will direct everybody, and the funds will come from the ruler. He'll hire the artisans, and from his mind he will manifest the temple, right? Now it is possible to import that, the whatever grand plan the Sthapati has in his mind, using some visualization tools. Modernization, I'm not saying should be modernization is not unwelcome, in Hinduism. He can manifest that in a let's say, I don't know, an AutoCAD or some visualization tool, and people can see the grandeur of the Sthapati's thinking, because the Sthapati is germinating the seeds in his mind based on the spiritual sciences. Spiritual sciences are what is the primary source of creativity for him. He produces the knowledge, but the knowledge can be shared in modern means to others. That's all I'm saying. For example, somebody might visualize a more efficient way of travel, but that comes based on spiritual principles. Like what Swamiji said, like the battery, the Agastya's battery. He mentioned there are some circuits which, if they are powered by enlightened beings, the longevity of the battery circuit is it goes on for centuries, if not millennia. So the spiritual science that is capable of producing such science and technology should still be welcome, but modern appliances can still be used to propagate that knowledge. So that is the key area where I differ. That is, I'm not saying modernization is unwelcome. All I'm saying is modernization is welcome in Hinduism, but the core spiritual sciences are not insignificant. They cannot be just cut off, saying that they are not appealing anymore. All I'm saying is those are the foundational principles that gave birth to such great ideas like gender equality. I'm not saying gender equality, gender uniqueness. The core spiritual ideas are what gave birth to the ideas of how to protect nature, how to not use chemicals and harm the mother nature, how to produce chemical-free food, organic food. All those things came not just out of nowhere. They came from a spiritual foundation. The spiritual foundation is what I mentioned as something that is being cut off, and that is not insignificant. That is significant, and that needs to be taken forward.
Okay. So to summarize that, I say, okay, you are making statements, you are claiming, you are making claims, you are making huge claims, but there is no demonstration, right? For example, with all these things, they have successfully, as you said, they have de-linked all these things. And so that means you yourself are proving right? Even by delinking, they are able to invent an aeroplane, they are able to invent a phone, they are able to invent without completely they de-linked from Hinduism or the spiritual science. And then they have come up with all these wonderful tools which are catering to the human, modern human mind and human needs. Actually, human needs, modern mind already picked up all these things and then just drop the things which are not. Let's when you buy a vegetable, what do you do? Get rid of things which are not used and use the only one. Like that, they have used these things and then picked up the Western civilization already picked up, and then they have done wonders, right? And you're talking, you're claiming that Hinduism is been going on for that, but they have not done any modern tools, right? Then not done any inventions like aeroplane or phone or mass transport in any field you see in spite of all that. So they said, hey, man, without all these things I've already achieved. So why do you need just junk it what is not relevant? So you yourself actually demonstrated saying, yes, you're making claims, but then by de-linking itself, they have proven, right? By invention of aeroplane or the bus or train or the vehicles or the phone or, the internet, all these wonderful inventions, wonders of the modern has already been invented by de-linking all these. So that means the Hinduism with all these things didn't produce these things. That's why it's not relevant. You yourself have an answer saying we don't need Kailasa, we don't need an independent Hindu sovereign nation for Hindus, whatever is perfect going. So that's what you yourself, I don't have to say.
I see. So
you yourself prove that, yes, you came with that, you're making claims, but you're not giving any evidence.
Sure, yeah. So what you're saying is, even though I claim that Hinduism has produced all these things, but even by delinking the spiritual aspect, still the West was able to produce all these great inventions, and still they were able to be successful. So that itself means that even that whatever got delinked is actually insignificant, because even without that they were able to produce all these things and they were able to be successful, right? So the counterpoint to that would be that yes, the West has produced, has invented so much, but at what cost is what we need to think. For example, all the carbon dioxide emissions, the greenhouse emissions, the radiation, the pollution levels, the pollution of the oceans, all the advancements in oil refinement and the pollution that comes with it, and all the nuclear waste that is being produced in the name of clean energy. So much as in the name of advancement has happened, without the core spiritual principles, without the core spiritual principles that come from Hinduism. Yes, they made all that invention, but at what cost we see, right? We see the cost now. We see how much the earth has been burdened because of these inventions. Look at the landfill rate in which the toxic waste is dumped into earth in the West. Look at the tons and tons of nuclear waste that is being produced. People there is even talk that they are planning to ship all this nuclear waste to the moon, or to Mars. They do not even know what is going to happen to Earth if they keep piling these pollution, this waste material in Earth. So we cannot say that West has been successfully able to de-link all these spiritual ideas and successfully invent all these things at a zero cost, in a very clean energy, clean, safe way. They have not invented all these things. There has been a huge human cost. There has been a huge environmental cost to everything that has happened because of a lack of a spiritual foundation to modernization. So that is where Hinduism can definitely help. So that is where Kailasa has a greater role in showcasing that yes, you can invent, you can modernize, but not at the cost of, but not without foresight. You should have a foresight, you should have a vision as to how, with minimal disturbances to the ecosystem, with minimal damage to the health of the planet, you can still have the luxury, you can still modernize, and you can still move forward.
Yeah, it's very good. Okay. So then I'll hand over to Gauri Bhartaya, but I'll just say that. So basically you're saying, yes, it's been great inventions by delinking, but with the spiritual things, there's a huge, great human cost and environmental cost, and then so many things. Yeah, like the way they used to have the shortage of food shortage, then they invented the problem, right? So like the way problems are coming, then they are doing the same way. All the problems you listed, you already listed some of these solutions also. They may come up with the new inventions and then they solve it. So that means it does. I mean, you're yourself are answering, right? All the problems are there. Everything has the problems, and then they'll come up with the problem. Like they had a food shortage, then they came up with that. Now there is an environmental problem. There all the world is talking about it. They caught up, they're working on a solution. Then soon the whole world, like Corona is there, the whole world is facing. There is a crisis, human crisis. The whole world worked towards it and came up with the vaccination, right? So the problem comes, the world live up to it, come up together, and then find a solution. So probably what you're saying is without anything, without using the, if that's the case, if Hinduism should have come and helped the Corona, or should have come up and done and demonstrated, but there's nothing there. The yoga didn't help me, meditation, and then the Ayurveda, none of them seem to have helped in anything. So then they are still using the modern tools and came up with the vaccination to defeat the problem. So the world came together, and modern solutions and modern things seems to have a solution, but still you have not demonstrated the power in any way, form, shape for an average Hindu so that they can just support you. I think all the good luck, all the the best for your thing, but you have not done. So I don't know how you have to keep doing, and then maybe you're still convincing. You have not convinced me as an average Hindu to give you a support. I can definitely morally support you and wish you all the best, but it's not convincing me for me to give a tag of my resources of time, talent, and treasure. And that's a lot of resources to do. Okay, let me hand over to Gauri Bhattaya and then see if we have to wrap up, or we can still continue. Yeah, go ahead. Gauri Bhattaya, you want to say anything?
Yeah, we can wrap up in another 20 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can wrap up. Yeah, that's what I mean. We can wrap up. That's what I'm saying. So probably we came to because you're almost exhausted. So let's see if he's got anything else to close it much faster. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, I was listening sorry, I had to step out for something. But yeah, see, I've heard your arguments in the last few things. So basically, what you are essentially, your stand basically is, hey, Hinduism can solve global problems and global issues. Okay, and and if I have to summarize both your arguments, you both are saying, hey, Hinduism, you are making an argument Hinduism can solve global problems. That is why you need a Hindu nation. And what Bhagavan is saying is, hey, West is already taking whatever is relevant from Hinduism and they're solving global problems. So why do we even need? So both our arguments are centered around Hinduism. From Senthilaya, I'm not seeing an argument on why we need a Hindu nation. You are only making an argument on why Hinduism is great, but there is no central primary argument on why we need a Hindu nation. All the things that you have said doesn't warrant any Hindu nation.
First three sections we discussed only about that. Probably at the time you had stepped out. So Ayya was Bhagavan Reddy Ayya was asking all those only. Why Hindu nation? Already there is enough space for Hinduism. Why separate Hinduism? Why bother creating?
Already we talked about an answer. Yeah. So now this last one is only. This is the only thing. The last thing what you.
So in that case, we can wrap up. But
then wrap it up. Yeah, wrap it up. Yeah. So he feels that's what I'm saying. That's why I wrapped up saying that and all of it. Still with all this narration and explanation, with all his passion, he couldn't demonstrate on average.
Yes, you brought up a good point. What that is, Hinduism should demonstrate the utilitarian value also. In addition to the other aspect, Hinduism and Kailasa should demonstrate the utility value. Utility value, so that for people to catch, because utility value is something that can easily catch the imagination of Hindus, of people. That is a key gap. Yes.
Yes. You have all the things, but you have not demonstrated. With evidence, with an explanation, a logic, either logically or the demonstration, an evidence or the benchmark or pramanas. You have not demonstrated saying that yes, Hinduism still is relevant. It's got a utility value to solve human problems and can solve the global problems. You have not done. So that's why I'm saying all the best for your success for Kailasa, and then and I can give you moral support, but I don't think I'm in a position as an average Hindu to give you a tag of my time, talent, and treasure. Okay, so I think that's all we wanted to close today. It was great discussion, continuing only through our philosophy. Hindus have always debated from the beginning of time, from Mahadeva, and in the form of Dakshinamurti, in the Navatar of Dakshinamurti, and taught the Saptarishis in the, the Vada Prativada, the same thing. And then it's been continued. And then in between, Adi Shankaracharya and Mandana Mishra, and then what's her name? His wife, Mandana Mishra's wife. And then again all the way to what's his name, Swami Vivekananda. Of course, in between Acharya Chanakya and then Swami Vivekananda. Then latest, right? And it's continuing the same tradition. We have Sri Raju Malhotra is talking about this Uttara Paksha, Purva Paksha, and this Vada Prativada. He's talking and engaging all Hindus and then non-Hindus. So that's a great discussion. We have a very, very lively thing, and then we will continue. And okay, we will give you another chance. You come and then prepare with your things, and then we'll have an episode 2 and see. We'll give you like that. We'll give you chance, unlimited chances to get your argument to sharpen, get all your things. Now that you have all the answers, say you believe in your heart and mind, in your mind and your heart, you believe we need Kailasa as Hindus. We need an independent, sovereign Hindu nation, and bring all your valid. And so the utility value of Hinduism as a Kailasa, how is going to help the whole world or the global problems, right? Okay, it's good. And then let's close with the Purna mantra, right? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sadguru Padkarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you, Swamiji, for helping us today.